Okay, here we're back again with the Realtor Coach, and we're on our sixth week of the year of 2015 with your coaching for this week in February 13th, day before Valentine's Day. I need to apologize. It's been late in the week. It's Friday afternoon, approaching the end of the day, and it's been a challenging couple weeks for myself and my family. Our kids have been very, very sick and ill, and I haven't been around too much, but I'm committed to myself and committed to the brokers that we coach and the agents that we coach about providing new training each week for the entire year of 2015. So 52 sessions we're going to have, and now this is a test of persistence and will. And I had every excuse in the book to not do it this week. But I'm here. I'm doing it. It's for you guys. It's for me. It's to stay focused. It's to stay on target with my goals and for the business, for the Realtor Coach, Young Realty Academy. So I think it's a good life lesson for everyone who's listening to, when you're really posturing this year and your goals and positioning yourself in 2015. We're into mid-February now. It's well, we're in Toronto. The winter's very upon us, very cold. It's full of snow up there. Some people listening, they're not. They're in sunny California or they're in Florida selling real estate, and those are great places too. But just stay persistent. Mid-February tends to be a time when a lot of people reflect on where they've been previous years, and they're getting no results with their new business plans going forward for 2015. But now is really when you have to push. Now is really when you have to push through this dip that you are possibly in and really focus on where you need to go and where to make up in parts and areas of your business that you may or may not feel as though are acting for you in your best interest. But that being said, the beauty part about real estate and any business for that matter, every day is a new day, every week's a new week. And if you haven't gotten the results you want yet so far for 2015, it's okay. You could start anew this week or next week and go from there. For those of you who have been persistent and have already started seeing results come from the actions you've been taking so far this year, I congratulate you. And hopefully this event today will bring you to higher and higher elevations and better results for the year to come. So today we briefly spoke about the Parthenon, whereby you have these multiple sources of lead generation systems. The Parthenon is really just a metaphor for something with multiple columns or multiple sources of anything, whether that's lead generation, revenue generation, business income, your life in general, goals. You can use the Parthenon as sort of your analogy. The Parthenon comes from obviously Greece. If you've ever been to Greece, there's the Parthenon is there in Greece. That's where that theory comes from, with the columns. Obviously, the columns holding up the rooftop. And the more you have, the better off your roofing system is going to be, of course. If you have one column, of course, the roof is not going to be supported very well. So what we're going to be talking about today is lead generation in real estate using this Parthenon idea. We're going to really go in depth with it. So if you're following us at the Realtor Coach and you understand what Young Realty Brokerage is all about, our sort of mantra here is to produce long-term sustainable wealth, both for our realtors, for our clients, and really for the community at large. And how you do that, really at the bottom, sort of the most basic way to explain it is you need multiple sources of income. So you can't just have just sales, and you can't just have one single source of income and expect to do very, very well in life in terms of finances and businesses for that matter. And what we're going to be talking about today is MSLs. MSLs are multiple sources of leads. So when it comes to real estate sales, or any sales for that matter, you need leads from every angle you could possibly think of. Last week we spoke about the force multiplier, where if you're in the Army and you're going to war, especially the U.S. Army, they're going to hit you from every angle possible, right? So from the sky, from the water, from the ground, from special ops, from unmanned drones in the air, from the Air Force, you name it, they're going to get it, okay? So that's what we call force multiplier. And when it comes to real estate sales and lead generation really is the key to anything. So you can be the best salesperson in the world, but if you have nobody to speak to, it really doesn't matter, because you need leads. You need to be able to convert those leads in order to create an income for your business. So today we're going to be talking about MSLs, multiple sources of leads, using the Parthenon theory. So this works for your business and for your day-to-day life and your day-to-day finances. So if you're struggling with finances, you need multiple sources of income. If you need better business generation, lead generation, it all starts from multiple sources. So most agents are very reliant on one source of lead generation. And here, I'll just pan forward here. So this is a Parthenon where you have one source of income. This is a fairly typical realtor anywhere in North America. This obviously they use the example of the internet, but you can replace that with anything, right? So if you only do direct mail, for example, that's probably not, you may be doing well with it, but it's probably not the best way to grow your business from a geometric standpoint, from an exponential growth standpoint. The only way to double, triple, quadruple your business over the next year, 2, 3 years, whatever long your goal is focused for, you're going to need to really build these columns, these Parthenon columns in your Parthenon. And so for this example of the diving board, which is the diving board principle, whereby you have one single source of lead generation that's grounded you and it's producing a revenue for you, it'll get to a point where the revenue cannot be supported by that single source. So the growth of the revenue curve on the horizontal will not continue to grow just because the internet or that one lead generation source that you're using, direct mail, telemarketing, door knocking, whatever it is you're doing, it cannot support bigger and bigger growth year after year. It can't support geometric growth or exponential growth. So we want to go back to here where we say at the very bottom. So it's applied to any business. We're coaching realtors, and we're talking about the real estate sales business specifically. So, but if you go outside of real estate, you go into, like shoe selling, or you're selling toothbrushes or pens or whatever you're selling, this all leads the same way. There's no question about it. So, but for real estate, we're going to be very specific when it comes to what you need to be doing for real estate sales and real estate lead generation. So obviously everyone knows, well, they may not already know, but this is one of my mentors, especially in real estate sales and marketing, is Jay Abraham. His quote says, "You are surrounded by simple, obvious solutions that can dramatically increase your income, power, influence, and success. The problem is you just don't see them." So I want to let everybody know it's really time to wake up and really sort of have this new awareness, this new awakening. You have to have a different perspective. You really have to grow yourself into a new awareness of what you're doing and where you're going and how to get there. When it comes to real estate sales, Jay Abraham uses the funny story about how the ice cream was invented 4,000 years ago, but the ice cream cone wasn't invented until I think it's like 1,500 years ago or something like that. And he goes, the obvious answer is you obviously needed something to eat it with, right? Obviously, everybody just used bowls before that. And he's got a million different examples of just like that. So there's so many obvious solutions to realtors' businesses, whether you're in a city like Toronto in Canada, where we're located, where you have 130,000 transactions, $56 billion worth of revenue being sold every year in Toronto on average. You're either in a market like that, or you're in a marketplace where there's just a few agents. We have an office outside Toronto. There's only 100 agents who work in the entire region, and so to become an agent out there who really has more market share is actually harder and more challenging than it is in a city like Toronto. You really can grow a big business, relatively big business, with just one single source of lead generation, which is why I think so many realtors default to that. It's easy to do. You're already seeing some results. You're getting the business you want that you're happy with, but you don't really need to expand yourself much more because the market's so big and it's so easy to get more market share each year that they just don't look outside of that. So today I really want to focus on growing different lead generation techniques for any realtor, whether you're in a small town, big town, whether you're new in the business or you've been in the business for decades. I think this presentation is really going to help you and really focus and think on how and why and where you can get different leads from. So again, that's the Parthenon one example. So the Parthenon is a multiple example. You have to hit all areas of your business in order to grow your business. So when it comes to, obviously this graph says revenue. We're going to talk about leads. The Parthenon can be explained in anything, but today we're going to be talking about leads. This one gives you 5 different examples. They're a great example: internet, direct mail, telemarketing, your sales force, your team members, right? And also your referrals. Referrals are huge in real estate. We're going to get into that and touch on it slightly. There's basically 93 different referral techniques to use, and most agents probably use 1 or 2, if any at all. And so we're not going to go into it too in depth. We're going to have an entire session on just referral systems. But those are the 5 highlighted ones. Today we're going to be talking about 12 overall Parthenon columns that are, in my opinion, the best 12 out there. There's no limit to how many different lead sources you can have. You can have dozens upon dozens. But I've taken the top 12 that I would want every agent using in their business today. But before we get into leads, it's very important to understand marketing from a very basic standpoint. The challenge with most agents is that all they want to do is say, just give me the tactical ways I can grow my business. Just tell me what to put on a postcard or how many postcards to put in the mail, and I'll do it, without even thinking about strategy, about marketing, what should be written in the piece, how it should be written. So one of the things you need to understand about marketing is there's a very cool acronym called AIDA. It talks about attention, interest, desire, and action. Every marketing piece you do, whether it's direct mail, whether it's referrals, whether it is host-beneficiary relationships, client retention, we're going to be talking about all these today. They all need to have this common denominator, which is called AIDA, which is attention, interest, desire, and action. So most realtors fault on the attention part, right? So you have to grab the person who's reading your ad, whether it's a radio spot, TV commercial, whether it's a direct mail piece, whether it's a referral newsletter, whatever it is you're doing, a telemarketing piece, the attention needs to be there. We're bombarded with information in today's day and age, and most people, myself included, I probably have like anywhere from 10 to 15 pieces of real estate marketing newsletters that go to my house every week. So in order to grab my attention is going to be very challenging, especially for me who I'm in the business, so I know what to look for. It's very rare that I'll see a piece that'll actually draw my attention, that I actually want to pick up and look at. So one, you have to think about attention. What is the reader really looking for, and how can you grab their attention? Interest. The piece needs to be interesting. In order to stand out from the masses and the onslaught of information that we see on a daily basis, it has to be interesting to the reader. You can't just say, I'm number one. Who cares? No one cares that you're the number one agent. They just don't. It's just that simple. So you have to really think from the seller's point of view, the buyer's point of view, whoever your client is, what they're focusing on and what you're going after. How are you going to spark their interest in your piece? Desire. You have to be able to relay your desire through your marketing piece about how you treat real estate. Are you passionate about selling real estate? That comes through in your marketing. It always does. And a lot of agents fault on that. They think as long as there's faces on a piece of card or a piece of paper, that their message is going to get across. And it really isn't. Desire really comes through with understanding. We're sending out information that's related back to you, how passionate you are about the business, how long you've been in the business, why you've been in the business, what do you do with the business and the results that you give back to the community. That's really desire. That's where the desire piece comes into. And action. I can't tell you how many times I've seen marketing pieces from agents where the top 3 ones, they've got interest, they've sparked my interest, they grab my attention, and I can understand their desire in the business, but there's no call to action. There's no go to this website, go to my email, send me your phone number, send me a fax, do whatever you want. Something needs to be a call to action. Go to our live seminar, go to our live tapings, go to our webinars, whatever it is. There needs to be some sort of call to action. Without that, you're really just wasting your time, energy, and effort and money. So what you need to do is start focusing on all 4 of these in your marketing pieces. So I don't want to spend too much time on marketing today. We're going to have an entire full session, full hour on how to market properly. But that being said, you need to understand Marketing 101, which is AIDA, and before you get into Parthenon, because as you go through each of the 12 steps today, you really want to relate it back to how can you create attention, interest, desire, and action in each piece in the Parthenon. Okay, so your Parthenon in today's economy. So in real estate, building your business is very simple, but most people overlook the simplicity of it because they think they have to do something elaborate in order to stand out from the competition. In order to stand out from the competition, you just have to do, maybe 2 or 3 of these things on this list of 12 that we're going to give you today. And you will be so far ahead of the masses of realtors out there that you won't even be able to see them in your rearview mirror. And the challenge with most realtors, they won't take the risk or the action steps to go through with these 12 steps here. So what we're going to be covering today are your website, your online presence, Social media, obviously, is a big one. Direct sales, telemarketing, referral systems, joint ventures, direct mail pieces, advertising, which is outside of direct mail, so magazines, newspaper, radio, TV, commercials, etc., billboards, all that stuff. Developing a back end, which is huge. Endorsements, hard to get, but really translates well for most realtors. Host beneficiary relationships, huge source of lead generation if you can get it done properly. And client retention, probably the most important thing we're going to talk about today. So, starting with the first one, when it comes to websites and online presence, 10 years ago when I was starting the business, to have a website in real estate, man, you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars. There really was no functionality and systems in place where you can sort of click a picture and it gets on your website, or click a form and it's already uploaded. All that didn't happen. You need to hire programmers. You need to wait for weeks on end to get anything loaded properly. It wasn't well developed and designed for real estate industry, but 10, I'd say 12 years ago. And where it's come from over that sort of curve of growth is websites, one, they've become super easy to have, very inexpensive, if not free on certain platforms, depending on what you use for your website. But at the end of the day, if you really think about websites and what they are, yeah, they're an information source, but everyone has access to every source of information they need right now. They don't need more information from you. What we've been coaching a lot of our realtors to do is really just to create lead pages, just a one-sourced website, if you for lack of a better word, you can call it. But basically a single-sourced website where if it's, realtor.com slash, fill in your name, whatever you want to call it. And on the page, it simply just says, if there's a call to action for free home evaluation, click here. And it's just one-stop shop. And people love that. And we've been getting way more lead generation from our single source pages than versus our big built out websites, because what we're finding, and if you track it, no one really goes to 90% of the information on your website anyways. They're going after very specific information that they're looking for. It typically has to do with them, what benefits them, and it doesn't generally involve information. Information is a thing of the past. It's good to have, but going forward, you really need to have lead generated specific websites or lead pages. We use a system called leadpages.net. I have no affiliation with them. I don't get paid for an endorsement. I just enjoy their product so much that I recommend to anybody looking. It's called leadpages.net. And basically what they do is you can create a website literally in 5 minutes, and it's single sourced information. So if you have expired listings or an expired listing campaign, you can have expiredlistings.com, okay, or expiredlistingstoronto.com, or whatever you want to call the thing. And then within that page, it's simply give me your name, information, email, and I will send you every single expired listing that there is that comes on the market. Expireds, for sale by owners, power of sales, foreclosures, wholesale properties, you can name it. So you're better off to build 5 to 10 single source lead pages than to build one robust website that very few people are going to go to. Now, things have come a long way. You can now go from, instead of being an organically search SEO, which really it's a challenging thing to do in real estate. There's just so many real estate professionals, so many different websites out there, and you're competing with some big industrial players who are really geared towards not necessarily just lead generation, but just information collecting. And you're competing against those people who are literally spending millions and millions of dollars to get that information. And you're just in one single market, in one single place in the country, just trying to get, 1 or 2 extra leads a month to generate more business for yourself. So, to compete against those type of websites like Zillow.com, Trulia.com, it's next to impossible. So one of the great ways to do it is through pay-per-clicks. Now, it's going to cost you money, but you can do Google pay-per-clicks. And what you basically do is you pay for people to go to your website. So it directs them to your website. So you're paying people to go there, but once they're there, what are they seeing? Are they seeing a full-fledged website? Is it something that's so cookie-cutter that it looks like everything else? Is it single-purpose, like a lead page? And, you have to really think through this. So what I would recommend is everyone do a lead page before they get into a website. Now, that being said, if you're more of an established agent and you've had a website for years, the only real way to generate more traffic to your site is either through an organic search engine, which one can be timely and cost effective. It's not cost effective, so it can cost you quite a bit of money. Or you do like the pay-per-click campaigns. But one thing, as we get into social media, into the next slide here, one good way to push traffic for free is to use your circle of influence on your social media, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your Facebook campaigns, and really push the traffic to your website. That's another way to build a lot of traffic. But within your website, if you don't have a great lead capture system, so this is why I like leadpages.net, it's an incredible way just to capture leads. It's done so quickly that most websites, most realtors' websites fail to do, where they just want to have all the information out there and they fail to capture the leads that are actually on their website. So going forward, if you are going to use website as one of your lead generation techniques and tools for 2015, one, really focus on what you want from it. Two, understand you have to have a bigger budget than most people think you would need. Three, I would prefer you use a lead page versus a website, but the decision is totally up to you. And I think that's probably all for summary for websites. One of the things that we polled on, we did a poll, I think it was last year in the summertime, I think it was June or July. We did an event. At the live event, we talked about realtors and if they would use their own website to search for real estate if they weren't in the real estate business. And the large majority of people would say no, they would not use their own website to search real estate because they don't do it now. They're in the business and they don't even use their own websites to search for real estate, which is pretty sad if you think about it. Because most realtors, they use their own system, right? Their own MLS system. They use realtor.ca or realtor.com, whatever they're using. Most of their clients go to realtor.com, they go to realtor.ca, they go to MLS.net, they go to all these different places, but very few realtors would even own or use their own website, which is really sad if you think about it. Now, that being said, though, if you're looking specifically for foreclosures or something like that, they would use a site more like that where it says, give me your name or email and I'll send you a free list of foreclosures or, for sale by owners or whatever it is. That is more of a driving force than any other website I've seen out there. And just in summary, the simpler the better, of course, for websites. Some of these websites get too overcomplicated. Okay, social media is the second column in our Parthenon where everyone needs to be focused and using. For me, I'm not a huge personal user of social media, so I don't do personal talks about it on Twitter or Facebook, whatever. It's really company driven. Our pages are focused on the realtors, the end user, our brokerage clients. They're focused on not about me, but they're really about out there what's going on in the community at large. So for you as a realtor, specifically to just selling, you have to focus on who you want reading your page, what they're reading, and what the messaging you want to get across to them. Obviously, me as a corporation, we have a different message to our readership than we would if it's just me personally saying, like I'm going out for a walk. Our corporation doesn't need to tell people that we're going for a walk or going for a coffee. It doesn't really matter. So you really have to focus who your readership is. The beauty about social media is you're now expanding your reach from your traditional circle of influence, which was before just your family and friends, to really a new circle of people who is basically anybody who's on the internet, anybody who's on social media who wants information related to real estate or who wants information from somebody who is providing great information from a reader's point of view, from an engagement point of view. Like, are you providing information of where to go, what to do in your local community, what the real estate markets are trending? I think most agents fault on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Plus, you name it. There's so many platforms out there now, but I think the big three are obviously Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And where most agents fault is they don't stop talking about themselves, what they're doing, the new house that they just rented. If you got 20 of your past clients on your Facebook account, and you're sending them a new listing every other day. That's great that you're doing so many listings, but your Facebook followers don't care, right? So they want to know what's going on of an overall standpoint. They don't necessarily want to know about your day-to-day experiences of selling and buying real estate. So just keep in mind, it's more important to send out generalized information. One of the best and easiest ways to get that information is to use a function called Google Alerts. So on Google, if you go into your Google account, if you don't have a Google account, you can very easily sign up for one. But you basically go into Google Alerts, just Google Alerts, and it'll come up. And you go there and you can pinpoint your area, your region, your topics. You could basically, it scrubs the entire internet every single day of what you are looking for. So let's say specifically you're looking for Toronto condominium real estate expired listings. So we get very specific. If you get too specific, you won't get any information. But let's say you're looking for that. You can do a Google alert. And every day you get an alert in your email saying, here are the top 10 articles on Toronto condo expired listings, like for the day of February 13th, 2015. And what you can do is you pick and choose those articles. You can upload those to Facebook, to Twitter, to LinkedIn. You can comment on those articles, and you really make it engaging for your users, your usership. And the reason why you want to do that is because you want to come across as not somebody who's just selling all the time. You want to come across as someone who is a thought provider, a thought leader, someone who is generating an environment where people are engaged in what's going on your social media. So now today, though, you are becoming more and more of a commodity than ever before. You are just like every other 1.3 million realtors that are in North America. The problem with that is, agents think it's easier now because of social media and because of websites and online traffic. Their cost of advertising goes down. But you're now seen as really just one of 1.3 million agents who are doing the exact same thing across the board. So in order to differentiate yourself from a commodity to somebody who's really engaged in understanding, and think again, go back to ADA, right? Attention. How do you grab the attention? How do you speak to the interest of the readers? How do you get across your desire? And how do you get an action involved with social media? You really have to think about that. And it's not as easy as you would think. But some of the great features out there with leadpages.net, for example, they push your pages live to Facebook, which is an incredible way to generate leads, right? Most people fail to use Facebook as a lead generator or lead capture program, but that's one of the best things you can do. It is cost effective. The cost is fairly low. You get high exposure very, very quickly. You have very low conversion. So Facebook's done a great job of having, a billion people online, and they've done a great way of connecting everyone and understanding how you can pinpoint down who to look for and who to target. It's an amazing targeting marketing tool. However, the conversion is very, very low, because to convert someone onto social media, yes, it happens all the time, but the conversion rate is much lower than people would actually understand it. Again, so I just summarize, just to convert, you must get them to act. So ADA, think about ADA. Every single time, every Parthenon column that we're going through today, think about ADA, AIDA, attention, interest, desire, and action. How are you going to get them to act on Facebook? How do you get someone to act on Twitter? It's very difficult to capture a lead on Twitter unless they tweet you or message you or whatever it is. The best way is to redirect them somewhere else. So you're going to have a link on Twitter that's going to redirect them to one of your lead pages or a capture page. If it's on LinkedIn, it's the same thing. Facebook, you can build it right into the page where there's a free resources tab. You can create a lead capture tab. You're sign up for our newsletter. There's lots of things you can do with Facebook, where Twitter and LinkedIn sort of fault on that. So I think that's enough for our website and social media. So for direct sales. So direct sales are specifically geared towards people who they know they're going to be sold. For example, have you ever been invited or given away a free trip knowing that you're going to be sold a vacation property, or tried to be sold a vacation property? It happens all the time. I get them all the time in the mail, through faxes, through emails. Come down for a free Caribbean cruise for 2 days, all expenses paid trip. But the catch is you're going to have to spend an hour with our sales staff talking about why owning a part of a cruise ship is a good investment. Okay, so that's basically a direct sale. So you are going to be going into a room, or you're going to go into some atmosphere where it's a sales pitch, and it going into it. It's a direct sale. So what you need to do as a realtor, not to be look down on cruise ship selling or vacation homes in the Caribbean or things like that, even though I love all that stuff. I don't recommend time sharing, but that's just my personal preference. However, you can really do it and capture people's interests by providing them information or education where it is beneficial to the person listening to you. For example, I talk to a lot of agents on a daily basis, And one of the things I'm always teaching people and showing people and telling them what to do is to create an area or a specific region of where you're working, information session on investing in real estate, on the benefits of home ownership, the how-tos of selling your home, of how to stage your home. You literally bring them into a room, you educate them for an hour, you give them all the information you could possibly give them in an hour. And at the end of it, you sell not only yourself, but homes that you currently have listed, what you could do for people who are in the audience who are looking to buy or sell their homes, how you can show them how to invest in real estate, investment properties that you currently have and how they can get into it. That's a direct sale. If you add that to your business, you do it once a month, once every 2 months, once a quarter, it doesn't really matter, but you will start seeing some significant increase. People, for whatever reason, when they're in an environment of a community, if you will, if you're in a room with like 50 people and there's 3 people signing up to your investment strategy weekend or your ability to sell them an investment property, it's the understanding that if someone else is doing it, they want to do it as well, right? They want to understand that it's okay to do it if somebody else is doing it. You get that in that room environment, which you don't necessarily get in a Facebook ad or a direct mail or a radio ad. So this is where direct sales really starts to spin off some incredible numbers from your business. You won't convert high in them necessarily, but the people you do convert in those direct sales, they're really your clients for life because they understand that, one, it's a direct sale. They're saying, look, if you can sell me, you're going to sell me for life. And generally what you do is if you sign up 3 out of 50 people, you're well on your way to making a huge business. Think about it. If you had 3 new clients every single month who are willing to buy maybe multiple properties, it's a good start to your year. So direct sales, really key, and it's important to get that involved into your business. Telemarketing. I'm not sure how many agents I've spoken to over my 10-year career and said, do not cold call. It's the worst possible thing you could do with your time, your energy, your effort. You're going to be pissing off everybody that you speak to on the other end of the line. Most agents do it at dinner time when nobody wants to speak to anybody on the phone, especially somebody looking to sell their house. It's the worst possible thing you could do. The challenge with most telemarketers or most agents who want to be telemarketers is, one, they take on the job themselves. It's the worst thing you could do. Telemarketing should be hired out to telemarketers, people who do this for a living, people who understand selling on a phone, people who understand the messaging and how you deliver a message on the phone. It's totally different than an in-person message. It's totally different than a direct mail campaign. It's totally different than a newsletter campaign. You name it, it's all different. Telemarketing is no exception. Cold calling does not work. The only way telemarketing works is, one, if you hire the best return on investment I've ever seen is when you hire out a telemarketing company. You can do it yourself, but you have to do a lot of calling, and you have to be very good on the phone to understand how it works and really truly converts. So the best way to do it is through warm calling. Warm calling, the difference between cold calling and warm calling is they're either expecting your phone call, or they know you, or you've sent them something in advance where they can expect the phone call, or they can expect to know who you are, know what you're selling before they're even on the phone with you. That's a warm call. 1, your conversion rate goes way up, goes through the roof. 2, you'll generally only speak with people who are looking for what you're asking them to do, okay? So let me give you an example. If you sent out a direct mail campaign to your farming area, let's say it's 100 homes, and it's February 13th. Your direct mail campaign says, have a happy Valentine's Day this year, 2015. And we wish everyone well. And next week on February 18th, I am going to personally call you to let you understand the market that you're in, how we can improve your house valuation, how we can sell your house faster, how we can get you into secondary or third property. That's the direct mail campaign that goes out. And then when you actually do follow up the following week, it's a warmer phone call. They're expecting it. And if they're not expecting, you'll say, did you not get our direct mail piece last week that was in the mail? And what you need to do, and what you need to start doing, is preempting these phone calls. It's the only way this works. It's basically what we call priming the pump. And this goes a long way for referrals as well. If you can implement a telemarketing campaign for your past clients and ask for referrals through a telemarketing campaign, market updates, you get into the groove and the routine of having a company, a telemarketing company hired to go back to your past clients, your business really skyrockets. Okay, this is where we talk about geometric growth and exponential growth. You can't do everything at all times. Okay, and the agents who do, they're in phase one of realtors. If you remember a lesson from last week, you're in You Incorporated. You're doing absolutely everything. You will get to a point in time where you have too many people and not enough time in the day to speak to everyone. So what number are we on now? I think 5 or 6. So this is what we call the referral system. There are 93 referral systems that I know of. There's probably even more, but there's 93 that I know of for ideas for salespeople. The key question here is, how many do you know? And how many do you use, more importantly? Most agents, I would say, use one technique. Okay, they use one system. They call their past client, or they send them a card once a year saying, Merry Christmas or Happy New Year or Happy Birthday, something like that. But it's very sort of second, like a sort of back burner type thinking. It's like, yeah, I'll send it to you when I feel appropriate enough for your benefit. You don't send items of value. There's nothing consistent. There's no system in place. One of the best things you could ever do, we go back to telemarketing, is you hire a telemarketing company, or you hire someone on staff, and their only job to do is to do a referral-based system that you implement. One of the best I've ever seen is Brian Buffini's system on generating referrals. It's only the system, if you implement it, it's an entirety. Okay. The problem with most people who implement the Brian Buffini system, they just do the one implementation, which is the note cards, the thank you cards, which is fantastic. But you need to implement, if you go through this entire system, you'll understand there's a phone call. There needs to be 18 total touches a year. So there needs to be one touch every single month. You have 4 touches quarterly, right? So throughout the year. So once every 3 months, you have something else. You do an item of value. It's a lunch. It's a dinner. It's whatever contact you want, but it's a personal touch. And then you have 2 live events in the year. Either it's an education system, it's a party at the end of the year. So that would be your 18 total touches. Okay, so that's probably the best referral system I've ever seen. Most agents don't implement it because, 1, there's a cost associated with it, and 2, you're going to have to scrape off some time that you don't already have now. So you're going to have to figure out where you get more time in your day so that you can begin this new campaign. So what I recommend most people do is to hire out to an assistant. You can use an unlicensed agent, teach them the system. You don't pay them. You pay them based on the revenue they generate from the referral system. 2, you can hire a telemarketing company who will do all this for you. There's a lot of firms out there. Just Google your local area telemarketing companies and be very specific with them. Don't just hire them just to make a phone call. Hire them to say you need to make phone calls, you need to send out these newsletters, these cards, you have to generate events, you have to have annual parties. You really have to be very specific with the company that you hire. Okay. Let me see here. It says, ask for them, educate your clients. One of the biggest things you need to do and start learning and start implementing is you need to basically ask your clients for referrals, but begin the process before you start the sales transaction. Most agents want to wait till the sale is done and then ask for it after the fact. Anytime we get a new lead that wants to sign on to a buyer's listing presentation or a buyer's listing agreement or a seller's listing agreement, instantaneously right there, we ask for them for a referral. One being is the second you put your house for sale, you put a sign on the lawn, guess who's calling? Your neighbors are calling. What's going on? Why are you moving? Why are you using this company? Why are you using that guy? Your family's going to call you. I saw your house on the market. What's going on? So you need to educate your clients prior to those phone calls to say, anytime anybody calls you, say, I'm working with Stephen Young with Young Realty. He's going to be my realtor going forward. If you're looking to buy or sell your house in the near future, just give him a call. He's amazing at what he does. And that's a referral system. And that's how you have to educate your clients. Your clients will they want to work with you. They're a walking billboard. They want to shout your praises because you're going to sell their house for more money than the next realtor out there and the best competition out there, because they know that you're the person for the job because you understand how it works. And you want to make sure they relay that information to everybody they know, their family, their friends, their Facebook, their social media, their websites if they have them, their business associates, you name it. You need to get that out there. But you need to educate the client. Otherwise, it just never happens. Joint ventures. This is one that I find most realtors have the worst time implementing. One, it involves somebody else. Okay, it's usually a partnership of some sort. or a team. And most agents don't know the first thing about running a team or being a manager or a leader. So you need specific information and education when it comes to that. The easiest way is probably a referral partnership or a joint venture. So what I mean by that is one of the top agents I ever knew was in a community of about 2,000 people on any given year. I think there was like 150 house sales in the town that she lived in. But she had, 300 sales a year. I was like, how are you doing it? And basically what she did, she was a referral partner. Okay. She basically created a website that was countrywide, and she basically was the middleman or middlewoman in this case. She generated the leads and sent those leads out to her referral partners all over the country, but she had a 50-50 partnership. So she generated so much referral business for these people that they're happy to give her 50% because they knew they were getting like multiple referrals every single month, every single year. And so that's probably one of the best things and most overlooked things that most realtors come across in their business. So in Toronto, for example, if there's a lot of people who move in and out of Toronto every single year. I think 250,000 people come into the city every single year. How many leave, I'm not exactly sure. But that being said, those kind of numbers, you would have to say, where are these people coming from, right? So maybe you can call big areas of the United States and Canada, Mexico, wherever they're coming from. And if they're coming to Toronto, you from Vancouver, you want to call people in Vancouver and say, I'm your contact for Toronto. We give a higher referral fee than anybody else in Toronto. Your clients are in great hands, and here's the partnership agreement. And the more referral partnerships and joint ventures you can create with these people, the more business you're going to have coming to you. One, it doesn't cost much money to do. You just have to set that up. There are literally systems out there. I think one's called Referral Key, which I haven't had great feedback about because I'm not actually promoting it. But there are a lot of systems out there that basically set up referral systems. The best thing you'd ever do is do it yourself. You don't need many agents. You probably need maybe a dozen agents per city across the country, and you'll have a huge business spike coming to 2015 and future 2016 if you really hone this in and understand how it works. But no difference when it comes to your clients. When it comes to client retention, referrals, you need to educate the people on the other side. You need to treat them just like your clients, send them items of value, keep them updated on your business, let them understand the marketplace, keep reminding them that what you do, your partnership, your agreements, the percentages they get. Corporate partnerships, we're going to talk about host beneficiary in a minute, but joint ventures, you can do joint ventureships with corporations. There are corporations formed out there who literally do nothing but get people from one side of the country to the other through corporations who are downsizing, upsizing, promoting people across the country. They got to send them to places, relocation companies. This is what they do for a living. You can create a joint venture with these people whereby you're giving them part of your referral system to use your business. You're giving them part of your commission if you wish to. If you don't wish to, you don't have to, but you really have to form that partnership, that joint venture. Client joint ventures. One of the best things you could ever do is be a joint venture with your client. Imagine every time you bought a property with your client, you were doing it 50-50. Your client would want to buy properties from you all the time. And you're saying, oh, I don't have the kind of money to buy a property with every single client out there. But that's not always going to happen. But you need to put it out there to your clients that it's okay that if they are looking to buy a place, you have the wherewithal to either buy it with them as a joint venture, or the people who can buy it with them. You could set up that relationship and still get paid for it. So you never want to limit people to the amount of real estate they can buy. Just make sure that you're the person creating, either you're the middle person who's doing it, or you're participating in the sale or the buy yourself. So when it comes to direct mail, I said your 10,000 person sales force here. That's if you're sending out 10,000 pieces of mail. So for some agent this year, we did 20,000. 20,000 pieces per month. So we've already sent out 40,000 pieces of mail to just a one small little block radius, little farming area that we're testing things on for you guys. So we have literally 40,000 sales force out there. And what does that mean? Well, those pieces of direct mail out there are working for us nonstop. If they haven't thrown them in the garbage, if they're on their desk, it's getting our recognition out there, our name recognition out there. It's getting our call to action out there. It's getting our website out there. It's doing it all, and we're not having to pay anybody else to do it. So when it comes to direct mail, this is really where you have to focus in on AIDA, which is attention, interest, desire, and action. Most agents, I'd say 90% plus of agents out there, do not have all four components of AIDA. They probably have a call to action. There's probably very little interest because most of the direct mail pieces I see out there are very bland and cookie cutter. And most agents just get their information from other agents, and most agents don't know what they're doing. So what you need to do is go outside of the real estate world and say, what's working? What does McDonald's do to get you to pick up their coupons and go to their restaurants? They're very good at AIDA. They're very good at grabbing your attention. Two can dine for $9.99. How is that even possible nowadays? To have two people dine for $5 each just doesn't make sense. That's attention, interest, desire, right? That's always there. And action says, come in today, limited time only. This coupon only lasts for 7 days. That's action. It's taking action. You have to move on it. So once McDonald's stops doing direct mail campaign, then you'd understand it's not working anymore and you could stop it. They're never going to stop because they understand how powerful it is. And for me, it's always worked wonders in my business, and it needs to work wonders in yours as well. So it has to be a part of your Parthenon. So again, all top realtors have huge marketing campaigns, and at the top of the list is generally always a big direct mail campaign. When it comes to direct mail, you're exchanging nickels for quarters. There's no question about it. For every nickel you invest, you're probably getting 25 cents back. So you're making 20 cents on every 5 cents you spend, which is incredible if you think about it. On 40,000 pieces, we've probably spent, I think it's, let me see, $8,000 on 40,000 pieces. Sounds like a lot, but for the average transaction in Toronto, it's $15,000 per sale. You make one sale, you've doubled your money. Okay, you make two sales, you're exponentially growing your money. So that's the way you have to think about it. You're exchanging nickels for quarters. If you're not currently doing a direct mail campaign, one, you have to focus on marketing first. What is the readership looking for? How is AIDA, right? How is the attention, interest, desire, and action? How is that incorporated into every direct mail piece you have? If you're not doing it on a big scale, you have to definitely start on a smaller scale because you want to test until you get some results that you're happy with, and then you expand, okay? The worst thing most realtors do, they just send out direct mail pieces. They don't do any strategy. They send out to neighborhoods they don't even farm now. They don't do it for long enough. It's going to take 6 months to really get a hold of any new neighborhood you're going into. So when it comes to direct mail marketing, it's an incredible piece of growth for your business, and it's very cost effective, but most agents just don't do it. When it comes to advertising, so this is outside of direct mail. So we're talking about magazines, radio commercials, television commercials, newspaper ads. The problem with all these advertising pieces outside is really for the big teams, the big brokerages. It's for the high producing agents. Reason being, it's so expensive. When we were getting involved with radio 4 years ago, we had a spot with a local station that has, a lot of listeners on their channel, but it was $5,000 a month, and that was for 30 10-second spots. So literally for 300 seconds in an entire month, you have to spend $5,000, and there's no guarantee that that's going to translate because if you don't have the messaging right, you're just throwing money down the tube. So this is not for the faint of heart. This is probably the highest risk, most expensive way you can advertise. Excuse me. But that being said, every big corporation is doing it. So you have to figure out, why are they doing it? Why is the radio spots working for them? Why is it the TV spots are working? Why are the magazine ads working for them? The real answer is that it goes back down to force multiplier, right? It comes back down to the Parthenon theory. If you're coming from every possible angle, you're definitely going to get more market share than the person who's just doing from one source. Okay, so that's really where radio sort of props up most people's Parthenons. It just propels you into a different atmosphere, propels you into a different stratosphere, basically, of success, of understanding, of lead generation. It really solidifies who you are and that you're here and you're successful. And that's really the perception of what goes on when it comes to advertising. When you're in those spots, newspaper, radio, magazines, etc. So for the next one from the Parthenon, we want to talk about developing a back end. What we mean by that is this is not client retention. This is client capture, lead capture. Okay, this is your conversion rate. This is your ability to close deals that you're generating leads from your other Parthenon ways of lead generation. One of the biggest problems that I see out there, most realtors, they're actually pretty good at lead generation through their websites, through direct mail, through phone calls, through door knocking, through open house strategies, like whatever it is you're doing to generate leads, you're actually doing a good job. But when it comes to follow up and back end, it's non-existent. So you got an open house, and it's Saturday, and you got 50 people through your open house, and you got 25 people who sign up to your open house sign up sheet. And then Monday rolls around, and you're too busy looking for more leads, so you don't even follow up with those 25 people who were at your open house on Saturday. And let's say you followed up with all of them, and you didn't have any interest. A month goes by, and you're still looking for just new leads, and there's nothing follow up from those people from a month ago. That's the worst thing you could possibly do. Your business would literally probably quadruple overnight, if not by the next year, if all you developed was a back end for 2015. So just keep doing what you're doing in terms of lead generation, but converting and closing more of those people you actually bring into your funnel, you'll see a big difference in your business. So just going back to that for a second. So on back end, you can automate this. One of the best things you can do is automate. So either automate through a CRM, an email campaign, or automate through a telemarketing campaign with a telemarketing company. That's one of the best things you can do. That's quite easy to implement once you have a better back-end system built into your business. Endorsements, especially celebrity endorsements, are the best thing you can do for your business. One, it for whatever reason, it brings more credibility to who you are as a salesperson. It distinguishes you above the crowd. It really raises you to a different level in people's eyes and people's perspective. Your ability to be in either seen with celebrities, seen by endorsed businesses in your local community. It really puts you into an area of I guess specialty. It puts you in sort of a level above everyone else who doesn't get the endorsements. Okay, for example, we had Kevin Lavery speak at one of our events 2.5 years ago. We still use his footage. We still use the fact that he was in front of our logo and our name, the fact that I was on stage with him. We still use that, and it gives us a lot of credibility. It brings to the table the fact that we do know what we're talking about. Well, what nobody didn't realize, we hired him to come. He didn't have to endorse our product, but he did it anyways just because he was there. But that being said, if he wasn't there and I said, I had nothing to show people, I said, oh yeah, no, we're just Young Realtor, we're the Realtor Coach or Young Realty Academy, whatever it is, the credibility is not the same. So if you can get an endorsement, it doesn't have to be like a Hollywood celebrity, but you can be a local celebrity, be a local business, right? That we're going to talk about host beneficiary in a moment. But local businesses are always good to promote yourself. It's, like if, like Bob's Burgers promotes, Joe Smith Realtor in Wyoming, and that's like the place to be on a Saturday evening. You become sort of that person who says, hey, this is the guy who's being referred by the local business owner. And that's what you need to understand and have endorsements, not only once you get them, but you have to promote them. You really have to get it out there. Back to your past clients, your current clients, any new lead that comes in, they have to be sent an entire downloaded marketing campaign on who you know, why you know them, how many celebrities have you sold to, why they use you. It's one of the best things you could possibly. It's not the easiest thing to get, but you can pay for them. Think about the George Foreman grill. He was paid to promote a grill, go figure. But because he was doing it, there's lots of grill companies out there, thousands at the time when they first launched. But George Foreman steps in and promotes the George Foreman grill, and they skyrocket, $1 billion company. And there's no shortage. Look at the vodka companies out there, Ciroc vodka. You got all these like tequila companies starting. You got so many things out there being supported and endorsed by celebrities, and these things go through the roof in terms of people who wanting the product, they wanted the service. So it's very key to get an endorsement for your business going forward. So that takes us into host-beneficiary relationships. To explain this simplified, okay, I've really sort of nailed it down to this one sentence. It's where Company A agrees to let Company B deliver a sales message to the people on Company A's list. Okay, that's the easiest way I can explain it. It's a complicated arrangement because there's a lot of moving parts to it. But basically, you're going to go to a company. You're going to approach that company saying, I have a product or service to endorse. It's Stephen Young Real Estate or Young Real Estate or whatever you want to call it. And you're going to go to that company and say, I want you to promote my name to your client list, either for fee for service or a performance fee, a percentage for nothing at all. Maybe they just need to fill space. That's rare, but it does happen. But look at Visa, for example. Any Visa statement you get every single month, there's a new endorsed product on there. And generally, it says right on the bill, it says endorsed by Visa. It's all over the place. It's branded. So what happens is company B goes to Visa and says, I want to be on your list and I want to be promoted by Visa and I want people to understand that you're endorsing our product, right? So it goes back to endorsements and it just puts you above everyone else. It gets you, it gets you 1 million people on a list before you ever have the ability to get that. It gets you into markets that you wouldn't be able to enter normally. If you go to a relocation company, and say, recommend me to your list, or send out my product or book or tape or DVD or what you do in your local community to a relocation company's entire list. Maybe that list is 10,000 people on there, or 10,000 different companies. You don't know until you actually sit down with that company, and it works both ways. So you can be company A. So you can go to company B who sells lumber, let's say. You say, company B, I want to endorse your lumber sales to my client list, and in exchange for that, I want to make sure there's a referral system for my sales, or there's some type of compensation back to you as the realtor for that. And just say, because you've built your list over years, because you're so good at your CRM and your client retention and your management and lead generation, and you have such a big list that there are going to be people who are going to approach you and say, we want you to endorse our product as well. So it goes both ways. But that being said, it's a very difficult thing to do. It's very complicated. There's several books out there about it. Jay Abraham's got a book. It says, it's called Getting Everything You Want Out of Everything You Can. And it's one of the better books I've read when it comes to host-beneficiary relationships. He's done this for a living, so he really understands it from an internal standpoint and really how it works for both companies. If you can get to a point where you can be a 50-50 affiliate partner, that's your Xanadu. That is really when you begin to make sort of rubber hit the road. It's when you begin to change your business from just, ordinary phase one, you incorporated, you're doing all the work, to having more leads than you can even handle. So you're going to have to hire team members just to keep up with the amount of leads. 50-50 affiliations are essentially this. So this happens a lot online, and you can begin to become the person online who creates either the lead, or you create the product for the person who created the leads. And what happens is you create 50-50 revenue sharing from your affiliate partners to yourself or your service or whatever it is. For example, let's say you sell real estate, since you're a realtor and you're on here listening to the Realtor Coach, and your average commission is $10,000 if you create a sale. And let's say you're into, you sell condos in Toronto, and you're going to have an affiliate marketer who generates leads for people who are looking for condos in Toronto. You find that partnership, you create a 50-50 partnership with that person, and you say, for every lead you send me that converts, I'll give you 50% of my commission. Okay, so most realtors now are shaking their head and saying, are you crazy? I'm not going to give up 50% of my commission. You will generate more leads than you can handle. Guaranteed, if you can find these 50-50% affiliates. It's the standard out there. A lot of agents do 60-40, 70-30, whatever it is. 50-50 is fairly standard for online. When it comes to online lead companies, there's big companies out there now. Like, think about Zillow and Trulia. They don't do that for their partnerships. But if you approach them, or companies like that who generate leads, and you create this partnership, I can guarantee you're going to go to the top of the list of people who want to give leads to you for what you do. So it's an incredible way to build your Parthenon, one of your columns in your Parthenon. But if you don't have the system in place, you don't even think about it, if you don't grow your awareness, you'll never do it. But again, that's a very simplified version of it. If you want more information, just email me or call me. I'll tell you about where to get more information. Say, client retention, best for last. This to me is where, if all you did out of the 12 things we spoke about and the hundreds of other ways you can generate leads, if all you did was just this one, again, your business will be exponentially grown by next year. There's no question about it. So if all you did was focus on the people you worked with last year in 2013 and 2012, et cetera, it doesn't matter how long you've been in the business. It doesn't even matter how long it's been since you spoke to your clients. Most clients, when you've called them back, let's say 5 years goes by, you haven't spoke to your clients. If you call them back, which I recommend you send a newsletter first or a letter apologizing for your absence and lack of attention and interest in your client, and say, I'm going to follow up this letter with a phone call. So he goes back to these warm calls. You call him back the next week and say, look, Bob Jones, I apologize, it's been 5 years. I didn't understand the business back then. I understand the business now. I appreciate your business from back then. I still want your business today. One, I'm still in business, surprisingly enough, even though I haven't been following up with you. But I really want to move forward with you. I want to stay in touch with you. And I want to make sure that you understand that I'm your realtor, not only for yourself, but for your family and friends. If that's all you did for 2015, your business go through the roof. No question about it. But again, agents don't do this. When Earl Nightingale wrote his series, it's called Lead the Field, okay? He starts off saying it's lonely at the top of the pyramid. And he's right. Most of the top realtors out there, they do this and no one else does it. So they have no one to communicate with. They don't understand how it works. But we do it here. So if you have questions, again, just let us know, email us, phone call us. We'll walk you through it. But basically what client retention is just following up with your clients, staying informed with your clients, staying in touch with your clients, sending them information that they can use, beneficial information about their home, about the community they live in. And you're going to get some serious lead generation from that. So you don't need any new leads going forward. You just have to understand how to use your existing client base who've come to trust and work with you. And this should be number one on everyone's list. So if you only have one single source, right, if you got the diving board, if you have one single source of lead generation, if all you did for 2015 was just understand client retention and go back to clients, you'll see a big difference in your business. So let's recap here. So these are lead generators. They're not revenue generators. Revenue generators, we're going to speak about at another event coming up. If it's not next week, it'll be the week after. So these don't always necessarily generate revenue. The only way to create revenue is to have a high conversion rate of the leads. So I don't want people calling and saying, yeah, I implemented all these things, and now my leads have gone from 10 a month to 100 per month, but I'm still not making any more money. That comes down to your ability to convert, right? So your ability to have a unique selling proposition. It has your ability to say, this is what I do. You have to develop your own skill, your closing techniques, your conversion techniques. It's a whole different topic for a whole different day. What you need to focus on, especially early in the year, is how you're going to generate more leads. Again, the only way to do it is hone your skills and develop your technique. Again, if you're overwhelmed by what we spoke about, so there's been 12, these are the top 12. Like I said, there's probably dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of lead generation techniques out there. But these are by far the top 12. They'll generate the most leads for the least amount of money. If you're really overwhelmed, just pick one of them. I'd recommend client retention. If you don't have past clients, obviously it's probably not a good one, but if you do, I would work with client retention. Even if only you have one client, you only need one client. I still, to this day, so it's been 10 years. I met a client back in, I think it was 2006, so I'll have to double check. Anyways, Melanie is her name. She has given me more referrals over the years than I would say 90% of my client base combined. She probably gives me anywhere from 10 to 12 new leads a year of sales and direct sales. So these aren't leases. These aren't people just kicking the tires. These are people who need to sell their house now. Reason being why she does it, because I give her so many kickbacks. I give her, I follow up with her every month. We give newsletters, phone calls, you name it. I am definitely in touch with Melanie every single year. No question about it. Now, the people who don't give me anything, it's fine. I'm still providing information to my past clients regardless. They will potentially eventually give me a lead, give me a referral, whatever it is. But for the few agents out there who have these, what we call these unicorns in the business, where they're so few and far between, you really need to treat them very special. So I refer back to this poem. It's something I read. It's in my office, hangs on my wall. I read it almost daily. It's not the entire poem, but I think for today's session, this is key. This talks about being overwhelmed and talks about new adventures and all that. And his name is Bill Clennon. If you ever get the poem, you can just read it if you wish, and we'll have it on our site as well. But the last part of the poem says, you never grow by how much you win. You only grow by how much you put in. So any new challenge you've just begun, put forth your best and you've already won. So when it comes to building your Parthenon, just start putting the effort in. Okay, it doesn't have to be, the best thing you've ever done. You're going to have mistakes along the way. You're going to have some failures along the way. But as long as you begin the process and the, transitioning of your business from phase 1 to phase 2, 3, 4, and 5, you need to just step out and really start taking some action steps. Because once you start taking that effort, you've already won, hands down. So that's today's seminar. If you have any questions, again, just email us at info@youngrealty.ca, and then we can go from there. Thank you.